Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to dive into the world of .NET and .NET Core.
Okay.
You mentioned that you were super interested in cross-platform development,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understanding these frameworks is like
Yeah.
essential for that. Think of it this way: .NET is like that trusty toolbox
Yeah.
that you've been using to like build really solid software
Uh-huh.
for years. But
Hmm.
then .NET Core comes along; it's like
Right.
lighter and more agile
Mm-hmm.
and ready to like conquer any operating system.
Yeah.
We've got like a whole stack of articles and notes here
Oh, yeah.
ready to like
Right.
distill the essential knowledge you need.
That's right. And you know what's really fascinating is how that evolution from .NET to .NET Core really reflects the broader changes we're seeing in tech. Like it's all about that flexibility and efficiency and that cross-platform compatibility you're interested in. It's all about making sure your code can like play nice with any operating system you throw at it.
Okay, so before we like get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's break down how .NET actually works.
Okay.
We've all seen those C# files and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what's actually going on behind the scenes?
Well, it's like a multi-step translation process. So you write your code in a language like C#, right? And then the .NET framework compiles that into this language agnostic format called CIL. This compiled code then gets stored in assembly files. And then when you actually run your application, the Common Language Runtime,
Okay.
or CLR for short, swoops in and converts that CIL into machine code that your computer can actually understand.
So the CLR is like the universal translator, making sure our code can like speak to different computer architectures. That's pretty impressive. But hold on a sec. That .NET framework isn't just a translator, right? There's more going on under the hood.
Absolutely. It's packed with tools. Think of the framework class library, or FCL. It's basically this massive library of pre-built code snippets, like right at your fingertips. You need to work with dates or strings or numbers.
Yeah.
FCL has got you covered. But it goes way beyond that. It offers these APIs for database connections and file operations and so much more.
Wow, so it's like having this team of expert coders just handing you solutions on a silver platter. That's got to be a huge time saver for developers.
Exactly. It lets developers focus on the unique aspects of their applications rather than reinventing the wheel for these common tasks.
Okay, I have a question that's been bugging me forever. We've all seen those .exe and DLL files.
Right.
But what's the deal with those? Are they just like different file extensions for the same thing?
That's a great question. So they're both executable modules, but they have very distinct roles. Think of an exe file like the captain of a ship, giving the initial orders to launch the application. And a DLL, on the other hand, is like a team of specialized crew members that can be called upon by multiple ships to perform very specific tasks.
Ah, so the EXE gets things started,
Yeah.
and the DLLs provide these specific functions that can be shared and reused.
Oh, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's a clever design that promotes this modularity and efficiency in software development.
Speaking of efficiency, one of the things I find really fascinating about .NET is this concept of managed code. Can you shed some light on what that's all about and why it matters?
Of course. So you see, .NET works primarily with managed code, which means it operates under the watchful eye of the CLR. And one of the big perks here is automatic memory management through garbage collection. Think of it like having a self-cleaning oven. You don't have to manually scrub away the leftovers.
So managed code basically takes care of cleaning up memory, preventing those pesky memory leaks and crashes.
Exactly. It makes life so much easier for developers, and it leads to more stable and secure applications. Now, unmanaged code is a different beast. It's outside the CLR's jurisdiction, so it gives developers more control, but also more responsibility. It's a trade-off between fine-grained control and the convenience of automatic management.
So it sounds like managed code is generally the way to go for most applications. Unless you have like a very specific need for that extra level of control. It's like choosing between a self-driving car and a manual transmission.
Yeah,
Both have their pros and cons, right?
that's a great analogy. And speaking of different approaches, that's actually a perfect segue into talking about .NET Core.
Okay, so with this understanding of the .NET framework,
Yeah.
let's see how .NET Core builds upon these principles to offer even more flexibility and power. What are some of the key things that set .NET Core apart?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, cross-platform compatibility is a major advantage of .NET Core. You can build applications that run smoothly on Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
That's huge, especially with the growing importance of cloud computing
Yeah.
and the need for applications to run seamlessly across different environments.
Exactly. It's like having this universal key that unlocks the doors to any operating system you choose. And it's not just about compatibility. .NET Core is also incredibly fast and lightweight. It's got this modular design that lets you pick and choose only the components you need, resulting in much leaner and more efficient applications.
So it's like ordering a la carte at a restaurant instead of being stuck with a fixed menu. You get exactly what you need. Nothing more, nothing less.
Precisely. This makes .NET Core a perfect fit for modern application architectures, especially things like microservices where efficiency and scalability are paramount.
Now with .NET Core, I understand you can build Universal Windows Platform apps, or UWP apps as they're often called. What's the significance of that in the grand scheme of things?
So UWP apps are designed specifically for Windows 10 devices, and they offer these enhanced security features and these engaging elements like live tiles and the ability to adapt seamlessly to different screen sizes.
So it's all about creating this cohesive and modern user experience for Windows 10 users. That makes sense.
What's really intriguing is how this points to the future of app development. As we move towards a more device-agnostic world, frameworks like .NET Core become essential for creating these seamless experiences across platforms. It's about meeting users where they are regardless of their device of choice.
That's a great point. It's like speaking a universal language
Exactly.
that everyone can understand.
And that's precisely what .NET Core aims to achieve.
Okay, so we've talked about .NET and .NET Core,
Yeah.
but how do they really compare? For someone trying to decide which path to take, what are the key differences to keep in mind?
To put it simply, think of .NET Core as the modern streamlined evolution of the .NET framework. It's built for speed and scalability and the demands of cloud-native applications.
So it's like comparing a classic car to a sleek, modern sports car.
Yeah,
Both have their charm,
yeah.
but the sports car is designed for performance and agility.
That's a great way to put it. Both frameworks have their strengths.
Yeah.
But for new projects, .NET Core is generally favored because of its flexibility and cross-platform capabilities and its lightweight nature.
So for developers looking to embrace the future of app development, .NET Core seems like the clear winner. It's like choosing the path that leads to new horizons and exciting possibilities.
Absolutely. It's a framework that embraces the ever-changing landscape of technology and empowers developers to create innovative solutions for the modern world.
That's awesome. We've covered a lot of ground already, but I feel like we're just scratching the surface. Let's take a moment to gather our thoughts, and then we'll dive even deeper into some of the core concepts that make these frameworks tick.
Sounds good to me. There's a whole lot more to uncover. Welcome back. Now, if I remember right, we were about to delve a little deeper into the heart of .NET Core.
That's right. We've kind of laid the groundwork. So let's actually explore some of the key features that make .NET Core so powerful and so versatile. You mentioned earlier that it has a modular design. Can you elaborate on what that actually means and why it's such a big deal?
Absolutely. Imagine you're building a custom car, right? Instead of being stuck with like a pre-assembled chassis, you get to select individual components like the engine, the transmission, the suspension, tailoring everything to your specific needs. That's the beauty of .NET Core's modularity. You're not forced to include features you don't actually need, which results in these lighter, more efficient applications.
So it's like building with Lego blocks. You can snap together different pieces to create exactly what you envision.
Exactly. And this modularity also plays a key role in .NET Core's cross-platform compatibility. Different operating systems have different requirements, so being able to cherry-pick components ensures your application can run smoothly across various environments.
And speaking of building things, you mentioned earlier that .NET Core is open source. I've heard a lot about open source software, but I'm not entirely sure what that means in practice. Can you break it down for me?
Of course. Think of it like a community garden. Anyone can contribute. Planting seeds, weeding, watering, helping it flourish. Similarly, .NET Core's source code is publicly available, meaning anyone can inspect it, contribute improvements, or even build their own custom versions. This transparency and collaboration foster innovation and rapid evolution within the framework.
So it's like a collective effort with developers from all over the world contributing to make .NET Core better and better.
It truly is. It's a testament to the power of community-driven development.
Okay, so we've talked about modularity and open source, but what are some of the key components that actually make up .NET Core? What's going on under the hood?
At its core, you have the Core CLR, the runtime environment that executes your .NET Core applications. Think of it as the conductor of an orchestra, coordinating all the different instruments to create a harmonious symphony.
So it's like the brain of the operation, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Precisely. Alongside the Core CLR, you have Core FX. It's a collection of foundational class libraries, providing a vast array of functionality. It's like having this toolkit filled with pre-built gadgets and gizmos for common tasks, working with strings, handling files, managing networks, you name it.
So it's like having a whole team of expert engineers just handing you ready-made solutions. That's got to save developers a ton of time and effort.
Exactly. It frees them up to focus on the unique challenges of their applications, rather than reinventing the wheel for every basic task.
Now, what about developers who are just starting out with .NET Core? What tools do they have at their disposal to actually build and deploy applications?
That's where the .NET Core SDK comes in. It's the trusty toolbox for developers. It includes everything you need, the command line interface for interacting with the framework, compilers to transform your code into executable programs, and a bunch of other utilities to streamline the development process.
So it's like having a fully equipped workshop with all the tools and gadgets you could ever need.
Absolutely. The SDK empowers developers of all skill levels to build, test, and deploy .NET Core applications with ease.
Now, I've heard about this thing called the .NET Standard. What exactly is that, and how does it fit into the .NET ecosystem?
The .NET Standard. It's like a universal translator for different .NET platforms. It's a formal specification of .NET APIs that are common across various implementations, including .NET Core, .NET Framework, and Xamarin. This ensures that code written for one platform can easily be ported to another, fostering code reuse and interoperability.
So it's like having a common language that everyone in the .NET world can understand.
It truly is. It breaks down barriers between different platforms, promoting collaboration and knowledge sharing within the .NET community.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the key components of .NET Core, but what are the real-world benefits of using it? Why should developers choose .NET Core over other frameworks?
That's a great question. Let's start with performance. .NET Core is designed for speed and efficiency. Boasting a remarkably low memory footprint, it's like having a finely tuned race car capable of zipping through your code with lightning speed.
So it's ideal for applications where performance is critical, like web servers that need to handle a high volume of requests.
Exactly. And speaking of web servers, .NET Core is a natural fit for building modern web applications. It offers a comprehensive set of tools and libraries for handling HTTP requests, routing model binding, and view rendering, everything you need to create robust and scalable web experiences.
It sounds like .NET Core is like a one-stop shop for web developers, providing all the ingredients they need to craft these amazing web applications.
Precisely. And beyond web development, .NET Core excels in building RESTful APIs. Its support for JSON serialization, dependency injection, and middleware makes it incredibly easy to create robust and scalable APIs that power modern applications.
APIs are the glue that connect different systems, allowing them to communicate and share data. It's like having a universal language for software to talk to each other.
Exactly. And with .NET Core's API capabilities, developers can build the back-end systems that power the connected world.
Earlier, we touched on the idea of .NET Core being well-suited for microservices. Can you expand on why that is and what makes it such a good fit for this architectural style?
Absolutely. Microservices are all about breaking down complex applications into smaller, independent services that can be developed and deployed separately. Think of it like building a city with individual building blocks, each serving a specific purpose. .NET Core's lightweight nature modular design and support for containers make it a perfect fit for this approach.
So it's like having a toolbox filled with specialized tools, each designed for a specific task. You can assemble these tools in different configurations to build a wide variety of applications.
That's a great analogy. And .NET Core support for containers further enhances this modularity, allowing you to package and deploy microservices in a consistent and portable manner.
Now with the rise of cloud computing, scalability has become a critical factor for many applications. How does .NET Core handle scalability, and what features make it well-suited for cloud deployments?
Scalability is all about handling fluctuating demands, ensuring your application can gracefully handle both small and large workloads. .NET Core is designed with scalability in mind, capable of handling high volumes of traffic and effortlessly scaling horizontally by adding more servers to your application infrastructure.
So it's like having an elastic band that can stretch to accommodate growing demands without snapping under pressure.
Precisely. This elasticity makes .NET Core a perfect choice for cloud deployments, where scalability is essential for handling unpredictable traffic patterns.
We've talked about performance, web development APIs, microservices, and scalability, all very impressive features. But what about security? How does .NET Core stack up in terms of security features and safeguards?
Security is paramount in today's digital landscape, and .NET Core takes it very seriously. Microsoft has invested heavily in making .NET Core a secure platform, incorporating features like code access security, role-based security, and a secure runtime environment. Think of it like having multiple layers of protection safeguarding your applications from malicious attacks and data breaches.
So it's like having a fortress with multiple walls and moats, making it incredibly difficult for attackers to penetrate.
Exactly. .NET Core's robust security features provide peace of mind for developers, knowing their applications are well protected against threats.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground exploring the many facets of .NET Core, but I'm curious, are there any specific scenarios or types of applications where .NET Core truly shines?
.NET Core is incredibly versatile, capable of powering a wide range of applications. But there are certainly areas where it stands out, for instance, serverless applications, where you don't have to worry about managing servers. You just deploy your code and the cloud provider takes care of the rest. .NET Core's support for serverless platforms like Azure Functions makes it a breeze to build and deploy these types of applications.
So it's like having a magic genie that grants your applications wishes without you having to lift a finger.
That's a fun way to put it. Serverless computing is revolutionizing the way we think about application deployment, and .NET Core is right there at the forefront.
We've talked about the many advantages of .NET Core, but I'm wondering, is there ever a reason to choose the .NET framework instead? Are there situations where the older framework might be the better fit?
While .NET Core is generally the preferred choice for new projects, there are still instances where the .NET framework might be the better option. For example, if you have existing .NET Framework applications that you need to maintain, it might not be practical to migrate them to .NET Core. And if your application relies on specific libraries or APIs that are only available in the .NET Framework, then you'll need to stick with the older framework for now.
So it's not always a black and white decision. The best choice depends on the specific needs of your project and the existing ecosystem you're working within.
Exactly. It's about choosing the right tool for the job.
I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into .NET Core. We've explored its architecture features, benefits, and even touched on when it might be better to stick with the .NET framework. But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear your perspective on the bigger picture. How does .NET Core fit into the broader landscape of software development, and what trends does it represent?
That's a fantastic question. The evolution from .NET Framework to .NET Core reflects a broader movement in the software development world. The shift towards open source, cross-platform, and cloud-native technologies. This trend is driven by the need for greater flexibility, efficiency, and innovation in software development. And .NET Core is right at the heart of this movement, empowering developers to create modern, adaptable, and high-performing applications that meet the demands of today's digital world.
So it's not just about a specific framework. It's about embracing a new way of thinking about software development.
Yeah.
One that prioritizes openness, collaboration, and agility.
Exactly. And .NET Core embodies those principles, paving the way for a new era of software development.
This has been an incredibly insightful journey into the world of .NET Core. We've covered a lot of ground, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yep.
Let's take a short break to gather our thoughts, and then we'll wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts and key takeaways.
Sounds great to me. I'm looking forward to sharing some parting wisdom and inspiration with our listeners.
Welcome back to our .NET Deep Dive. We've journeyed through the intricacies of the .NET framework and explored the exciting advancements of .NET Core. It's been quite an adventure.
It has. And as we wrap up our exploration, I want to emphasize that this deep dive is really just a launching point.
Yeah.
You know, we've given you a glimpse into these powerful frameworks, but the real discovery begins when you start experimenting and building your own projects.
I love that analogy. It's like we've handed you a map to a vast and uncharted territory.
Exactly.
Now it's up to you to explore and uncover hidden gems and chart your own course.
Exactly. Whether you're passionate about web development or eager to create cutting-edge mobile apps or fascinated by the possibilities of cloud computing, .NET provides that solid foundation and that versatile toolbox to bring your visions to life.
It's so empowering to know that these frameworks can adapt to such a diverse range of applications and challenges.
It is. And one of the things I find most inspiring about .NET is its constant evolution. You know, we've witnessed the transition from the robust .NET framework to the leaner and more agile .NET Core. And this evolution isn't slowing down. New features, libraries, and tools are constantly emerging, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's like a living, breathing ecosystem,
Yeah.
constantly adapting and thriving.
Precisely. And that vibrancy is fueled by this passionate and supportive community of developers worldwide.
Speaking of community,
Yeah,
I think that's one of the most valuable aspects of the .NET ecosystem. There's this wealth of knowledge and experience and shared passion that's freely available to anyone who wants to learn and contribute.
absolutely. Connecting with other developers, participating in online forums, contributing to open source projects, these are all fantastic ways to accelerate your learning and become part of something bigger than yourself.
It's inspiring to see developers from all walks of life coming together to share ideas, solve problems, and push the boundaries of technology.
It truly is, and that collaborative spirit is at the heart of what makes .NET such a dynamic and exciting platform to work with.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the key takeaway you hope our listener will walk away with?
I hope they've gained this newfound appreciation for the power and versatility of .NET. Whether they're seasoned professionals or just starting their coding journey, .NET offers a path to create innovative solutions and make a real impact in the world of software development.
Beautifully said. It's a platform that empowers developers to turn their ideas into reality, regardless of their background or experience level.
And with .NET Core leading the charge, the future of .NET is brimming with possibilities. It's a platform that embraces openness and cross-platform compatibility and the ever-evolving landscape of technology.
So to our listener, we encourage you to dive in, explore, experiment, and never stop learning. The world of .NET is waiting for you to shape it with your creativity and passion.